There we go.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the July meeting of the Woodside Fire Protection District Board of Directors. We'll get going with the agenda in a moment, but let me first ask if anyone from the public has come wishing to make a comment on a topic which is not on the agenda. If you have, please let us know. I do not think so. So we're going to get going with the first item of the evening, which is our second public hearing on this topic. This is PH1, to have a public hearing and possibly adopt a final budget of the Woodside Fire Protection District for the fiscal year 2026-2027. We had one of these before, obviously. This is our second. Let me ask if there are members of the public who wish to make comments about the earlier version of the budget or anything around the final budget we're going to be discussing. Anyone? I do not see any members of the public wishing to make any comments, but I will ask one more time before we finish this off in case somebody comes. We had this topic last month. Let me ask if anyone has new questions or concerns that we should address with it, or I'll also ask if there's been any major changes that look like very minor.
There's a couple
adjustments.
There's a couple minor adjustments, as we spoke last time, reallocating some funds for the 3117 property.
Great.
So what we did is we went back, we looked at a previous account that had some funding that we had set aside resolutions for the training tower. We've been doing that over kind of a course of 3 years to a total of $150,000. We removed that from that account and we consolidated into a new account, which is 8811. With that, so we put that $150,000 in there, and then we looked at where we were currently sitting. We decided to allocate $2.1 million into that account. So $2 million for kind of the baseline of the account for the project itself, and then $100,000 for the demolition of the current property that's there. So that's 8811. That's under the reserves category there. That's the only somewhat significant change, just the reallocation of those funds. And then we did have to make somewhat of a last minute adjustment to account 5165, which is emergency medical services, in order to procure some AEDs, some defibrillators, automatic defibrillators for some of our support vehicles. Our intent with that is to look at the possibility of the foundation participating in that, but we need to get those purchased anyways, and so what we're doing is moving forward with that. And that was a total of $20,000.
Yeah, so that delta.
Yeah, so that's a difference of $20,000. Other than that, we had to adjust the account 5966 to account for an increase in the LAFCO, which is the Local Agency Formation Commission.
Yeah.
Obviously aware of that. So that was an increase that was kind of at the end of the fiscal year there. That was at, what was the final on that?
It's 11,200. They went up compared to last year, like more than 45% increase. The reason is kind of like find out they charge each agency, not just us, based on your revenue. 2 years ago's revenue. Unfortunately, like 2 years ago in 2024, I think 24-25, we have like over $10 million from foundation. So they count that as a part of your revenue.
Well, let's hope we get some more value from it. Anyway, moving on.
But other than that, that's pretty much all we had there. So I think that we're in a good spot for where we are for the adjustment for the 3117 property.
Good.
I feel comfortable with that and where that leaves us. So those are the only adjustments that we have.
Great, and in the future, we'll start talking about the master plan for
So,
that property
yeah, so
at some point.
we discussed in our command staff meeting today the formation of a committee.
Great.
So I'm gonna be sending out some inquiries to specific members of our department that are in positions that I think would be good for that committee. And we're gonna form that, and we're gonna start continuing we're already in the process right now of getting some quotes, which are in line with, I think, where we should be for demolition.
Yeah.
And so we're finalizing that process and working with Regan as well, make sure we're all in line with that, and we're gonna start making some steps towards that.
I'll make a comment on that topic,
Yeah.
and I don't know quite how to do it, but I will observe that when we went through this process with the station, a lot of time was spent on a brainstorming process, which was great, but that resulted in a lot of scoping out of something which was never going to happen.
Mhm.
So I don't know quite how to bound the problem initially. Normally you'd sort of say, hey, let's get some ideas on paper, but pretty quickly there needs to be some idea of square footage and budget for this thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And given But I'll loosely just call the overruns from where it started last time, we're gonna have to maybe do better this time, all of us, and
Yeah.
realizing we're getting more comfortable with this early, so we don't make the same mistakes I feel that we made a bit last time.
Sure.
Where things were suddenly impossible to change, and yet we're increasing by surprising amounts, even though some of that was due to COVID and issues.
Yeah.
There was a lot of, oh, wow, it does mean that we need to do this, oh crap. So let's get a bunch of ideas down, but maybe my suggestion is bring something very early back to the board in terms of what are we thinking square footage and dollar wise, and are we willing to cap either of those in a way that would be helpful to a planning committee? Not
Okay.
cap, but like give guidance, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's my only idea,
I think that's a
but
great.
that's not the topic here. So back to the budget. I was very comfortable because even with the new numbers, you know, the expenses are up about 5.1%, the revenues are up 6.1. I think that's good fiscal discipline, as we've always said, allows us to put aside money each year to pay off the last buildings and now build some new buildings. I appreciate the reorganization of the format. I think it's a lot easier to read with the total expenses put down in one place and the admin stuff in a separate. So I had no other issues, and I will, before we go any further, is there anyone now who from the public has come and wishes to say anything? No. Okay, well, given that, I would at this point entertain a motion to adopt the final budget of the Woodside Fire Protection District.
I'll move that we adopt the final budget for the Woodside Fire Protection District for 2026, 2027.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. So we have unanimously approved the budget for 26, 27. I'll take a minute to sign with the magic pen.
There's something. I don't. Might have to print that one. Yeah, we'll get that.
We can do that as we.
Yeah, sorry, I got all my resolutions here, I think. Yes, thank you very much, Teresa. I apologize.
No worries. So in the meantime,
That was my one.
does anyone have any discussion around the items on the consent agenda or wish to make a motion to approve?
I'll move that we approve the consent agenda.
I will just, for housekeeping, ask if anyone from the public wishes to make a comment on the consent agenda. They do not. Is there a second for the motion?
Second.
All in favor of approving the consent agenda?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Consent agenda is unanimously approved. Now we'll get to the regular agenda business items, which are all most of these are our usual items. They're all sort of normal things. The first is item R1, to consider adopting resolution 2604, a resolution of the Woodside Fire Protection District, calling for an election to be held on November 3rd, 2026, for the election of one member of the board of directors. This is the naturally occurring opening for the seat that I am currently sitting in. And does anyone have any reason or anything they want to talk about before we go to?
So this is obviously one of the steps that we have to go through for the election process.
Absolutely.
I've been filing out the paperwork. This is the final resolution that needs to be signed and submitted. So it's we'll sign this after. So yeah,
It's a formality.
it's just
Yeah,
a
I do not-
formality in
I do-
terms of the paperwork.
I didn't wish to stage a sit-in as a sitting board member, so I would accept or entertain a motion.
I'll move that we adopt resolution 2604.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. We
So
have
this-
unanimously adopted resolution 2604.
Now this one just needs a signature from Matt.
My own execution.
And then if we can, please, since we're here, can we please sign the last one? And it's just, yeah. Thank you, Tracy, for the directors. Directors right there. I will sign this one here.
And I will, on this topic we just finished, I did go down, I filed, we should be all set, but I am filed. I chose not to file a candidate statement because I saw it cost $1,300 and I'll wait until somebody is going to oppose me, then I'll file it if I need to, so I don't waste $1,300.
Yeah, and I marked on there,
$200.
so 200 words, yeah, 200 words.
Yeah, I already wrote it.
Okay.
When I got there, they're like, yeah, we're gonna charge your district $1,300. And I was like, well, why?
Well, yeah.
So we'll see. Next up is topic R2, adopting resolution 2605, a resolution establishing appropriation limits for the Woodside Fire Protection District, as we do each year. I think we've all had a chance to look at the proposal from staff. Did anyone have questions about those appropriation limits? They seem consistent with past practice to me.
And this is just a,
You have to do it every year.
process we do every year.
Yeah, as I understand it, we have to just redo this every year,
Yeah.
and every year these folks adjust it marginally up so that they can have the right amounts, but this is part of command and control, I guess.
Yes.
Okay, then I would entertain a motion.
I'll move that we adopt resolution 2605.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Alright, we have unanimously adopted resolution 2606.
If you mind signing it in.
You've already been penning it? Oh, yeah. So excited I brought it. I wonder if a couple of people in second if it was a blue pen.
I actually, is that blue? Your pen blue?
I know I learned it from small business administration, that so I didn't take documents with a black pen. Next, this moves us to topic R3, approving resolution 2606. A resolution authorizing a transfer of funds for the fiscal year 25-26 budget from equipment reserves, code 8612, for the purchase of a new fire apparatus, code number 7311-17. Does someone want to say just a word about that one?
So this one was for the new type one that we just received. This money was reso a long time ago during the beginning of this process, so it was already set aside and accounted for. However, when we finally got the bill, which we just did, it obviously needs to be approved resolution, so we made the payment, which we already have, or which we are about to.
$1.1
1.1,
million.
Yeah.
And that's why you see the cash balance when in the preliminary budget, we said roughly about 35.4, now is 34.6. It's kind of like because it's
We
big.
got a nice engine though.
Yeah.
yeah, and that was accounted for.
Now, is that before we pay for the type 3?
For, yes, but that
Type
type three
3
was
was
coming
the
from
pay,
the
was
foundation.
paid by the
Foundation.
foundation.
That's what I was thinking. Okay,
Yeah.
great.
So this happened this was before that.
Yeah,
So yes.
well,
Rezo was done.
Yeah.
the reserve is done.
Many years ago,
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay. Well, then I would entertain a motion for R3.
I move that we approve resolution 2606.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. All right. And I will ask once again, that we're not quite through these. Does any member of the public wish to speak on any of these topics? We still have, looks like no members of the public, so we're going to continue forward. To R4, which is to approve resolution 2607, a resolution authorizing the transfer of funds in the fiscal year 25-26 budget from the Gatsby Retirement Reserves, code number 8820, for payment to the district's Gatsby retirement obligations, code number 4321. And maybe Tracy, you just want to explain that one
Yes,
quickly.
Last year's budget, we decided, originally we thinking to put 240,000 toward the OPEB, the retirement benefit. Now, after we had a Zoom meeting with the CalPERS rep, they said we are pretty in good shape, so we are 85% above the funded. So we decided that we put in the 240 to the Gatsby 68, which is the pension retirement and funded liability portion. So we did that. We picked the most expensive, like amortization loan item. So we paid down some of 240,000. So in this year, we put away 250 again. We decided to do another one. So next month, when we talk about the Gatsby 68 pension and UAL and fund liability, we will talk more in detail. How we get to the 38 million now, maybe later on becomes 30 million.
We're trying to take somewhat of an aggressive strategy to increase our funded portion of that,
Unfunded
just like
portion,
with with the Gatsby 75, like we spoke about, this is the Gatsby 68. So this is specifically towards the retirement liabilities.
Excellent. Yeah, I look forward to learning more as we go.
That'll be-
This will make
Yeah.
even more sense once we do.
Yeah.
But every year we do pick a number with the help from some advisors and pay this down. So given that, I am comfortable and would entertain a motion.
I move that we approve resolution 2607.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have unanimously approved 2607 as well, so that's still a 6. And we're just gonna take a moment to sign these.
Sign.
It's a lot of work. That brings us to staff reports. And I was excited to see all the planning for the 9/11 evacuation drill. A lot of buzz around town about it, so it'd be interesting to see how this all works. But I saw that represented both in the work going on in the training report. There's also a lot in the prevention and the ready resident document, which was cool. I really want to congratulate all the 6 guys that were honored at the Elks Lodge for that incredible, rescue. The specifics are really like amazing and a good example of what really makes it important, what everyone does here. I never thought that was even possible. I was excited to see the arrival of the Type 1, the Type 3, and the Battalion 2 vehicles. And in the safety report, I will say, I thought it was helpful to see the safety report information and see what kind of hazards and injuries and things our team faces. I've seen reports before, but that was sort of a useful way to see it.
I appreciated that, especially the full disclosure, all that stuff, and kind of the culture that you're building of where to report everything and then working to correct it. I think that's great to have that same culture going on there.
Yeah, very helpful. So thank you for all those. Thanks for all the work that went into them from all of the command staff. And that would bring us to the fire chief's report.
District updates here. We just spoke about it, but since last time we have received the new Type 3 engine, the apparatus has been outfitted with all the necessary equipment. The specialized training has begun. They are currently doing on-road driving courses throughout the district, multiple progressively more difficult areas that we have in our district. And they are going to continue with that. Then they're going to do a little bit of off-road training. And we're hoping to have all this training and so forth completed by September and get that on the road and ready to go.
And how many different guys will get trained to drive that?
All of our driver operators are going to go through, the training, absolutely.
Great.
So
Yeah.
it'll be everybody.
Yeah.
So it takes a little time, but
Yeah.
they have to go through the first on-roading and then all the equipment and bracketing and all that stuff, that kind of feel little adjustments that you get when you see it. And so, but it's going well.
Good.
It's going well. And we look forward to sharing that with you and showing you the apparatus.
Yeah, for sure.
So forth. So 3 of our new lateral firefighters have successfully completed their probationary terms. I'd like to officially congratulate firefighter paramedic Chad Blackman, firefighter paramedic Jeff Harris, and paramedics Nate Steele for their hard work and dedication to the tough process. They've all shown great professionalism. We're happy to have them as part of the Woodside Fire team. So they finished up their term, I believe, on the 22nd of this month, and now they are full-time.
That's great.
With Woodside Fire.
Congratulations, those guys.
Woodside Fire again will be hosting a large-scale community evacuation drill. We just spoke of that. This is scheduled for September 11th, and we'll focus on emergency evacuation, communications, interagency integration, including both neighboring fire agencies and law enforcement. And Kim is doing an incredible job on a very large-scale scope of training, so that's going to be a great drill. I can already tell. On a more personal note, I wanted to announce the passing of retired Battalion Chief Ron Puccinelli. BC Puccinelli served our fire district for 48 years, making him the longest tenured firefighter in our district. The family is going to be hosting a service for Ron that's going to be held at Fire Station 7 in early September. So we're happy to have them, at the request of his family, come to the fire station and host a little service for him. And he did tremendous things here at Woodside Fire. It was his home for, like I said, 48 years. And even after retirement, the family's been very involved with the district, in all the events and so forth. So sorry to hear about his passing, but yeah. Woodside Fire and Epic have started offering community CPR and first aid classes. That'll be taught by volunteers, reinforcing the neighbors helping neighbors approach. And also Woodside Fire will be hosting an operational UAS drone training later in August. This is going to be held at in Woodside at the Runnymede farm property, the Sculpture Farm. It's going to be multiple mission sets, including thermal, search, overwatch operations, etc. The focus is going to be on Woodside pilots, but we're also inviting Redwood City and Menlo pilots to come as well.
Great.
So that should be a great training. In terms of Woodside Fire deployments, firefighter paramedic Cody Campbell deployed as a single resource. He deployed on July 12th for 5 days as a Fireland medic trainee at the Loomis Fire. Cody returned home without incident, got some good exposure to the whole process. Promotional exams, how I mentioned, we have announced that we are doing captain and battalion chiefs in January, February next year. As far as the state goes, to date, there's been 4,003 wildfires in California with 206, 163,000 acres burned and 57 structures destroyed. So we are very much, in fire season here. And then community updates. There's 2 neighborhood preparedness and Woodside WPV Ready Node events that were held. One was on Wyndham Drive in Portola Valley and one in the Portola Valley Ranch. Both of those communities are working on neighborhood connections and strengthening their emergency preparedness. That's all I have for the chief's notes.
Excellent. Do we have any written communications?
We do. We have several cards here. We have 3 cards, all from members of the community that were helped for various medical aids. So I believe a bicycle accident and then 2 falls.
And we're sort of in a bicycle accident season.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they are riding fast
Yeah.
through our district.
Yeah.
So. Nice.
One realizes reading these cards for many years that everyone has nicer handwriting than I do. Yeah, and I should probably
It's,
never. I wrote only one.
Type if you need to, type it.
She looked yours, I could.
Yeah.
Yeah, typing is.
Typing is the way to go.
There's a story behind that one, but I won't ask.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you very much for all of that.
Absolutely.
It sounds like we have nothing else on the public agenda. What's gonna happen next is we're gonna enter closed session. And I'll read the topic of the closed session, and then we will come back into open session, and if we have a reportable topic, I will report it, we will report it at the time. This closed session is session CS1, a conference with labor negotiators under Government Code Section 54957.6, with agency designated representatives, Director Matt Miller and Fire Chief Eric Zabala. The employee organization is San Mateo County Firefighters, IAFF, Local 2400, District 9. So we will at this point thank you all for attending our public session. We're going to go work on this for a while and we will come back when we are finished and we will report one way or the other. Thank you very much. For all of you who have rejoined us in public session, we've just concluded our closed session, and we do have a reportable item. In the matter of the conference with labor negotiators, item CS1 on the agenda, the Board of Directors, by a vote of 3-0, authorized the fire chief to execute on behalf of the district a side letter to the existing memorandum of understanding with IAFF Local 2400 and a separate settlement agreement with IAFF Local 2400 and affected employees, which are intended to ensure compliance with the Fair Labor Standards Act. In addition, the Board of Directors, by a vote of 3-0, authorized the fire chief to execute on behalf of the district a side letter to the existing memorandum of understanding with IAFF Local 2400, clarifying the out of classification pay for captains in a training captain assignment, also serving as acting battalion chief. Thank you all for joining us. That concludes the reporting out of our closed session, and that concludes our July board meeting. Good evening.